Welcome to this special recording of Colonial Classics. I'm Kaylee Redard, Assistant Visitor Services Manager at the House of the Seven Gables, and I'm going to show you how to make colonial onion soup. First, you need to cut your onion into small pieces. If you want to avoid crying during this stage, I recommend refrigerating your onions before you cut them. You can also try cutting them while a fan is going or next to running water. I would not recommend cutting onions with a piece of bread or a spoon in your mouth, or any of the other onion cutting myths. There are a surprising amount of myths connected to cutting onions, as well as the origins of onion soup. The first written account about onion soup dates back to Roman times, but onion soup didn't become popular until the 1700s in France. There are two stories about how onion soup became popular in France, but neither of them can be confirmed. The first story states that after a long day of hunting, King Louis XV returned to his lodge to find the cupboards practically empty. All that he was able to find were onions, butter, and champagne. So he and the others from his court threw them all into a pot, stirred, and served, and that created onion soup. Once you're done cutting your onions, you're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. I put in 4 because I don't think there's anything wrong with a little extra butter. The competing origin story of onion soup comes from the kitchen of La Pomme d'Or, which is in the hometown of Nicolas Appert, the father of food preservation and the inventor of canning. When the Duke of Lorraine stopped at La Pomme d'Or on his way to the Palace of Versailles to visit his daughter Queen Marie, the wife of Louis XV, the Duke fell so in love with Appert's soup that he left his room in his bathrobe to go to the kitchen to watch the soup be made, so he could take the recipe to his son-in-law's court. Pour your chopped onions into the melted butter. You're going to want to make sure to continuously stir so your onions don't burn, and so you get enough butter on all of your onions. Historians believe onions originated in Central Asia, Pakistan, and Iran. Onions grew wild in various regions, which is probably why they became popular in people's diets, and that's why they started to farm them. Onions may be one of the earliest cultivated crops, because they are less perishable than other foods of the time, were transportable, easy to grow, and could be grown in a variety of soils and climates. After a few minutes, your onions will shrink and become softer. Continue stirring until they turn a light brown. Once they are a light brown, pour your buttery onions into a pot of boiling water. After your onions have simmered for 20 minutes, stir in 2 room temperature beaten egg yolks. Next, you are going to add 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. Make sure to mix well. Break up your toast into small pieces. I chose sourdough for this recipe because I love the flavor and it holds together really well in the soup. You could also try other breads, like Asiago or rosemary bread, to add more flavors to your onion soup. Pour in all your toasted bread into your soup and stir. Let it simmer for about 3 minutes before removing from heat and adding 2 teaspoons of either lemon juice or vinegar. Lastly, cover and let stand for 2 minutes and serve while hot.